Hello, guys. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing all right out there. I hope everyone's having a great day, a great week so far. Welcome in. Let's have a conversation. This is the 5-week notice where we talk about the first 5 weeks of the NBA season. And as always, before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And it's your host, your boy, Jayson Estrera. Now, this has been a really, really interesting NBA season so far, right? When you look at the Eastern Conference standings and the Western Conference standings, you see some unlikely names at the top of that list, right? And when you look at the power ranking, and mind you, this is as of November 18, 2024, right? So it's going to be a little bit different as I'm recording this right now by the time this comes out. But at that point, they had the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Golden State Warriors, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Boston Celtics, followed by the Houston Rockets to round out the top 5 in the power rankings. And as much as everyone has spoken about how much better the West has been than the East, which is absolutely true, right? 10 out of the 12 or 8 out of the first 10 teams in the top 10 are West teams. Actually, 10 out of the 10 out of the first 12 are Western teams. Only 2 teams in the top 12 are from the East, right? Excuse me if I'm just a little bit stuffy right now, but 2 teams are in the top 4 in power rankings from the Eastern Conference, right? It's not like the 2 teams that are in the bottom of the top 10. They're in the top 4. Talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics, right? So, yes, the West is much better this year than the Eastern Conference. However, the 2 best teams so far are 2 of the top teams in the league. And when we think about the top teams in the NBA, right, as long as I can remember, they've always spoken about defense, right? And when you think about the modern NBA and how it's so 3-point heavy, everything is about the 3-point shot, and everything is about offense, we hardly ever hear about the defense. And in this year so far, we have 6 teams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams with a defensive rating under 110. This is the first time this has happened since the 2021-2022 season, where they had, 9 teams under 110 with a defensive rating, right? Which is exactly what I think this season is going to be about. As much as they've talked about offense, I think that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and potentially 6 teams that are legitimately elite on defense. And I'm talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Golden State Warriors, the Orlando Magic, and the Houston Rockets are now sneaking in there. And the 2 teams that I have on the fringe are the 2 teams that are just outside of 110 points, which are the Cleveland Cavaliers with a defensive rating of 110.9 and the Boston Celtics with a defensive rating of 111.1. And they are ranked 9th and 10th. And so like I said, this year will be all about defense. And when you have one of the biggest games that we've had this season so far, which was the Boston Celtics against the Golden State Warriors, which the Golden State Warriors won. And it was a game all about defense, strategy, adjustments. Are they going to blitz? Are they not going to blitz? Are they switching? It was all about getting stops. And I think for the first time in a long time, I know it's kind of gone under the radar, but defense is a real thing this season. And I think it's something to really smile at, because if you also look, this is, let's see, this is the lowest ratings that we've had since 2019-2020, where the Milwaukee Bucks had a 102.5. And then at number 2, we had the Toronto Raptors at 104.7. Meanwhile, right now, we have 102.7 from the Oklahoma City Thunder, 103.7 from the Houston Rockets, and then 105.4 from the Orlando Magic. So defense has been really, really key. And then when you think about the Boston Celtics, who don't have Kristaps Porzingis right now, and to be honest, the fact that the Boston Celtics are currently 14-3 right now on the season, 14-3 on the season, and I think that they haven't played very well. Outside of maybe the first week of this year, they haven't played exceptional. And to be 14-3 and to have some of the statistics that they have, I think it's a little bit, it's something to get excited about if you're the Boston Celtics, because you're missing a key guy in Kristaps Porzingis who lets everyone fall into place on offense and on defense. And so when you're missing someone like that and you're still holding your own, it's a great sign. Now, they dropped in their defensive rating. Last year, they were second last year, and right now they're 10th. So that is a pretty big drop. But it's not bigger than the Minnesota Timberwolves, who last year was first at 108.4 with a defensive rating, to this year they are currently 14th in the NBA with a 112.2. And I gotta say, that is a massive drop off. And this is a big year for Anthony Edwards. This is a big year. He had a lot of hype behind his name last year. The starting five did a great job of setting him up this year to be the star of the NBA. Right? A lot of people want to call the NBA a reality TV show, a sitcom, whatever it is that they want to call it. Well, they were kind of serving it up for him to be the star of the NBA this season. And this isn't to say that he hasn't played well, because he has played well. But I don't think that he's figured everything out yet. I think he's got most of the ingredients that he needs. He just now needs to start understanding how much of each. All right, is this how much salt we need? Is this how much pepper we need? Does it need this? Does it need that? But how much? And now he gets to deal with problems in the NBA. He not only lost his co-star in Karl Anthony Towns in the offseason, but now he has to adjust to Julius Randle, who's not just a big personality, but also a player that demands touches from the ball, right? And you add a Dante DiVincenzo, who's already in trade rumors 15, 20 games into the season. So there's some turmoil in the Minnesota Timberwolves camp. And the most eye-opening thing for me was the incident between Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle, where Julius Randle chose to not pass Rudy Gobert the ball, who sealed Scottie Barnes under the paint. And a lot of people were talking about how Randle should have passed him the ball. Well, I asked the question, why didn't he? And the only reason you wouldn't pass someone the ball in that situation that, seemingly has an advantage. Rudy Gobert is much bigger than Scottie Barnes. And the only logical reasoning that I could come up with is you don't trust that person in that situation. In a situation that's supposed to be easy, that's supposed to be an easy basket. He's supposed to be able to dunk on this guy easily. And this guy doesn't trust you. Now, why? Is it a lack of time? Does he not see you putting in the work to know what you can do in that situation so that he could foresee what you're about to do? Maybe he doesn't see you working on your game, which now then that's very telling of Rudy Gobert as a player. And I think it's a fair question to ask. I get it. On the surface, it was a bad play by Julius Randle. But let's look deeper into it. In a Rudy Gobert that hasn't added to his offensive game, let's just call it what it is. When he scores, it looks like it's an accident. And now there seems to be an issue between him and Julius Randle. And they could say it's nothing and they could talk it out and get past it. But clearly there is something there, and it's a lack of trust. And when you have a lack of trust, that is hard. That's hard to gain. Trust is hard to gain in any situation. And so this is the current scenario of the Minnesota Timberwolves that Anthony Edwards now has to navigate. So this season, I think, will tell us exactly where Anthony Edwards is heading in this story that he's trying to write. This year is when the storm hits for him. A completely new team. Mike Conley is 35. Cat left. Julius Randle is here. You guys are trying to adjust. The dog that came with him, Dante DiVincenzo, supposedly wasn't happy with him coming off the bench. And now is in trade rumors. He hasn't had a great start. Maybe now there's an issue between Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle. Very quickly, the same media members that called Anthony Edwards the next Michael Jordan will all turn on him. And it'll be simple questions like, why isn't he an MVP candidate? Why isn't he leading his team? Why aren't they above 500? Why is this? Why isn't it that? And it'll very quickly shift. So I think this season will tell us exactly what type of career Anthony Edwards will have, depending on how he handles it and how he comes out at the end of the year. And it'll tell us a lot about where the Minnesota Timberwolves will be and if Anthony Edwards will ultimately stay there long term moving forward. Now, to very quickly talk about another young star in the league. Is it time to give up on Zion Williamson? There's recently a video of him getting tattooed. And I know weight has been a massive topic when it comes to Zion Williamson, but he's not doing himself any favors. He's got a belly. And it could work when you're 7 feet tall, 7'2", and you're bigger than everybody. But being strong is one thing, but when you're 6'6" and people can contend your shots, it's hard. And then you're not playing because you have so much weight on those joints. They'll have a really tough time. And they, meaning Zion, because I think it's getting to the point where that's it. Like, you can't keep counting on him because he's just gonna let you down at this point. And speaking of letdowns, we have Doc Rivers, who has been leading the Milwaukee Bucks, right? And after their slow start this year, they have won, I think, 6 out of their last 7 games, right? And one of them was off of a call. It was like a bang-bang play with LaMelo Ball in the Charlotte Hornets, and they ended up losing the game by 1. So they are, what is this, 8-1. They are 8-2 in their last 10. So when you think about, 7-3 in their last 10. Talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, right? And when you think about this Emirates Cup, it's really about who's hot at the beginning of the season. There's no series where you could prepare and adjust and really study what a player or a team is doing. It's just who's hot. And right now, there's not a team that has a player going the way Giannis has been playing lately. And then you have Dame right beside him, sprinkling in 20 to 30 plus points in those same games. So a team rolling like that with 2 players of that talent and 2 players that are that good, I think the Milwaukee Bucks have a great chance of winning the second annual Emirates NBA Cup. Now, on the other side of that, I think that the Golden State Warriors also have a great chance of being in that finals. And how fitting would it be to have LeBron win the first one and then Steph win the second one? And it's not even just like some conspiracy theorist bullshit. They've been playing really well. And it's kind of set up for Steph to have another big moment because he's had so many recently. The Olympics, the Celtics game, and then the Mavericks game when Klay's return. So when you think about Steph Curry and the run he's been on as of late, even though his numbers don't show it, right? Steph has been unbelievable, especially in big moments. So I think that the Emirates Cup has a great chance at seeing the Milwaukee Bucks and the Golden State Warriors. Now, if that happens, I'm going to have to go buy a lotto ticket and I'm going to have to try my luck because I do think it really comes down to who the hottest teams are. And I know Cleveland is up there. I know there's a lot of teams that are really good. But when you think about having to stop a Giannis Antetokounmpo, it's really tough. And they've looked really good lately. They look like they've sort of figured out that Giannis gets to hold the ball and kind of be the facilitator, the decision maker, the attacker. And then Dame, as long as Dame is the first person out of that pass or whatever that sequence that they're running is, it's a great play because he either gets a wide open shot or he gets a defender that's now out of position. And I think they've been finding their spots. And like I said, they've just been on a heater. Yeah, I do think that them and the Golden State Warriors, who've just had an unbelievable start to the year, I think they have a great chance of meeting up in the finals of the Emirates NBA Cup. Now, speaking of contenders, the Denver Nuggets have been very up and down. They're 9-6 right now, and I want to give a lot of credit to Russell Westbrook because I know no one will ever give him his credit, but he's helped them win a lot of these games. And I know his numbers haven't been great, but he's had a great impact on this team. And much deeper than Russell Westbrook, right? When do we call on Jamal Murray to get better? He's having a down year by a lot. 17.6 to 21.2 last season. 39.8% from the field versus 48.1 last season. 34.6 from 3 versus 42.5 last season. 5.9 assists to 6.5 last season. And Russell Westbrook is actually shooting a better percentage from him at the three-point line. Russell Westbrook is at 35.8. And Russ is also averaging 6.2 assists to Jamal Murray's 5.9. And Russell Westbrook is only averaging 25 minutes per game versus Jamal Murray's 36. When are we going to expect Jamal Murray to be better? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way at all, but when a team has kept the same core, those guys have to keep improving, right? And the team has not made any moves, and I think this is also where you point the finger at the Denver Nuggets and say, you guys haven't done your job of maintaining your best player, the best player in the league, of giving him help, always trying to better your team, right? The Denver Nuggets haven't helped him. They've let people go, actually. And so it makes Jamal Murray's down start to the year a little bit more glaring. And it highlights how well, to me, Michael Porter Jr. has been playing. It's not just the points. 18.6 to 16.7 last year. It's not even the most he's ever scored, right? But to me, it's the fact that he is now averaging 7.1 rebounds and 3 assists, and that's not a lot, right? But 3 is much better than 1.5. And he's getting more touches in the paint. He's using his size a little bit more. He's getting more midi shots. He seems to be growing his game with the absence of Aaron Gordon. Jamal Murray, I know, has missed games. And having to play a different role. And I think Michael Porter Jr., he needs to be a player that can step up. He is a matchup. He has an advantage on a lot of people, a size advantage. And granted, he's not a very physical player, but if he could develop more of his one-on-one game and being able to be on the ball It makes them a better team. And they don't have to rely on Jokic to lead the NBA in points, rebounds, assists, and whatever else he does. Excuse me. But also, the Denver Nuggets need to add more talent around Nikola Jokic. And that's just the bottom line. At what point are we going to ask the Denver Nuggets to do their part instead of just letting players go? So what do you guys think, man? I think the start of the year has been unbelievable so far. I can't wait to see the rest of the season. But that's going to do it for me for now. Now, before I get out of here, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. It really, really helps the channel out because we're trying to take this to the moon, as y'all know, and we're not going to stop until we do so. And as always, I appreciate y'all for coming out here. Y'all could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me. And I appreciate y'all for that. So thank you so much. I'll see y'all later, man. Y'all have a great day. Peace, 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 peace. Later.